Well, good morning, church. I was reminded in Isaiah 6 when I was reading through Isaiah coming into our Christmas season about this beautiful passage, and something struck me differently this year than ever before. And it's Isaiah 6, which is the beautiful passage of Isaiah standing before the throne and all the angels around there flying around, covering their face and their feet and eyes and all that. Pretty powerful passage. But it's also a contrast of pride and humility. Just want to show that to you real quick as a devotion this morning. Isaiah 6, in the year that King Uzziah's death, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, lofty and exalted. The train of his robe filled his temple. Seraphim stood above him, each having 6 wings. 2 he covered his face, 2 he covered his feet, with 2 he flew. And one called out to the other and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the foundations of the threshold trembled at the voice of him who called out, while the temple was filling with smoke. Then Isaiah said, Woe is me, for I am ruined. I'm a man of unclean lips. I live among a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the host of hosts. So this story, this opening passage, beautiful passage, contrasts Uzziah, the king who died, with Isaiah. And Uzziah was a king at 16 years old. He took the throne from his dad. His dad had not ruled really well and actually had made some poor decisions regarding Israel. He was king of Judah, but he had made some decisions to not protect Israel, the other tribes, and that was going to be something Uzziah actually tries to fix. So Uzziah reigned 52 years from the time he was 16 till much later in his life. He co-reigned some with his son, because later in life he ends up with leprosy. But he was a powerful king. He extended Judah's territory. He did really well. He brought the nation to a time of good prosperity. In the south, he maintained control over the Edomites and rebuilt part of the port at the Gulf. So the port facility at the Gulf of Aqaba was usable for the people of Israel and for the whole region. And in the west, he protected them from the Philistines. He seized some of the cities there. He defeated the Ammonites. So he's a great ruling king. He's doing a good job. He's a little bit like David in that. He was really good at helping the land expand and the people get their properties back and all that good stuff. He built some good armies. He actually went in to rescue Israel from some of the stuff his dad had made problem, but he reinforced the towers of the city gates in Jerusalem. He put catapults up there. There's this cool passage where he talks about the catapults that he built and that would shoot arrows and throw stones, kind of like in the movies we see now. He maintained a really good fortified city and strategic locations throughout the region and out in the desert areas. And his success was directly related to this passage in 2 Chronicles 26, verse 5. Here's what it says. He continued to seek God. Uzziah continued to seek God in the days of Zechariah the prophet, who had an understanding through the visions of God. And as long as he sought the Lord God, he was prosperous. So while Uzziah was trusting in God and listening to God's people give him direction, he went great. However, Uzziah turns into be this problem king, because it all went to his head at some point, and he wanted to be like the earthly kings, and he wanted a lot of credit for himself. And so he literally went into the temple one day and tried to offer incense, and the priest there and 80 other servants of the temple told him, you can't do this. And he arrogantly did it anyway, basically saying, I'm the king and I can do whatever I want to do. While he's resisting them, literally in his pride and arrogance, leprosy breaks out on him, and the priests realize it's that. They also realize it's God saying to him, you think you're all that, but you're not. And he ends up with a case of lethal leprosy. And for the rest of his life, as the priest usher him out, he's separated from the temple, he's separated from his family. He lived in isolation the rest of his life and died in leprosy. That's when Isaiah writes this in the year of his death. I saw the Lord high and lifted up. But Isaiah's story is the opposite. He's not a proud man. He's a humble man. He didn't have a separation from God because of his pride. He is the humble man who literally says, he's convicted in his heart of his own sinfulness. He says, woe is me. For I'm a man of unclean lips. He even knows his lips are sinful. And he knows he doesn't deserve this fellowship with God, but because of his humility, he is in fellowship with God, with the Lord of hosts. James, the half-brother of Jesus, much years later is going to write, God resist the proud, Uzziah, and he gives grace to the humble. I pray today that you would be the Isaiah version of this passage, that you would humble yourself in the presence of God, recognize how great God is, humble yourself in his presence, and see the beauty and the majesty of God's glory, and recognize that you don't deserve it, but he's given it to you anyway. Let's be humble, not proud today. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon. God bless you.